The silent invasion. In the vast expanse of space, silence reigned supreme. Earth, a vibrant blue marble suspended in the cosmic void, spun peacefully on its axis, blissfully unaware of the impending danger lurking just beyond its reach. It was on this ordinary day that humanity's greatest challenge would begin to unfold. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, lead scientist at the Global Space Observation Center, GSOC, stared intently at her monitor. Her brow furrowed as she analyzed the latest data streaming in from Earth's most advanced space telescope, the Hawking Array. Something was off, but she couldn't quite put her finger on it. "Hey, Mike," she called out to her colleague. "Can you take a look at this? I'm seeing some weird gravitational distortions in Sector 17. Mike Wheeler, a lanky astrophysicist with a penchant for bad jokes, rolled his chair over to Elena's station. He peered at the screen, his eyes widening as he processed the information. That's not possible," he muttered, adjusting his glasses. "These readings suggest massive objects, but there's nothing visible in that sector. It's just empty space." Elena nodded grimly. "Exactly. And look at this pattern. It's not random. These distortions are moving in formation." As the realization dawned on them, a chill ran down their spines. They were witnessing something unprecedented, an invisible armada approaching Earth. Within hours, the GSOC was a hive of activity. Scientists from various disciplines huddled around screens, debating theories and running simulations. Military officials arrived, their faces etched with concern as they were briefed on the situation. General Sarah Hawthorne, a decorated veteran with steely gray eyes, stood at the center of the command room. "Let me get this straight," she said, her voice cutting through the chatter. "We have an invisible fleet of unknown origin heading straight for Earth, and our only evidence is some gravitational anomalies." Elena stepped forward, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. "Yes, General. But these anomalies are undeniable. We're dealing with advanced cloaking technology far beyond our current understanding. The fleet is massive, possibly hundreds of ships, and they'll be within striking distance of Earth in less than 72 hours. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity was facing a potential invasion by a technologically superior force, and they were woefully unprepared. General Hawthorne's jaw clenched. "Options, people. I need options." As if on cue, a young engineer named Raj Patel spoke up from the back of the room. What if we could make them visible?" All eyes turned to Raj, who gulped nervously but continued. "Look, their cloaking tech is obviously based on bending light around their ships, but they can't bend gravity. That's why we can detect the distortions. If we could somehow use these gravitational anomalies to our advantage, maybe we could create a way to see them." Elena's eyes lit up. "Raj, you're a genius. We could potentially use gravity wave detectors, similar to those used for detecting black hole mergers, but on a much smaller scale and higher frequency." The room buzzed with renewed energy as scientists and engineers began to brainstorm. Ideas flew back and forth, each building upon the last. It was a testament to human ingenuity. Faced with an impossible problem, they were already working towards a solution. Meanwhile, in orbit around Earth, the International Space Station, ISS, was about to make history. Commander Yuki Tanaka floated in the observation module, her eyes fixed on the stars. As the ISS passed over the night side of Earth, Yuki noticed something strange. For a split second, she could have sworn she saw the stars flicker. "Houston," she radioed down to Mission Control. "I think I just saw something unusual." The stars in Sector 17 appeared to blink, almost as if something large passed in front of them. On Earth, Yuki's report sent shockwaves through GSOC. It was the first visual confirmation, however brief, of the approaching fleet. As news of the potential threat spread through top government channels, world leaders convened in an emergency virtual summit. The atmosphere was tense as they grappled with an unprecedented crisis. President Amelia Chen of the United Global Alliance addressed her colleagues, her voice firm and resolute. We stand at a crossroads in human history. An unknown force approaches our world, hidden from our sight, but not from our determination. I propose we pool our resources, set aside our differences, and face this threat as one united species. To everyone's surprise, the usually fractious assembly found common ground. Within hours, a global task force was assembled, combining the brightest minds and most advanced technologies from every nation. As the invisible fleet drew nearer, humanity raced against time. In labs and workshops around the world, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to develop new detection systems and potential defenses. The Gravity Wave Visualization Array, or GWVA, was quickly taking shape, a network of highly sensitive detectors that could potentially map the gravitational footprint of the cloaked ships. In space, a hastily assembled fleet of Earth's most advanced spacecraft took up defensive positions. Though outmatched in technology, the human fleet stood ready, a testament to the species' unwavering courage in the face of the unknown. As the 72-hour deadline approached, tension on Earth reached a fever pitch. In homes and public spaces around the world, people gathered around screens, waiting for news. The usual bustle of daily life had given way to an eerie quiet, broken only by the occasional sound of fighter jets patrolling the skies. In the GSOC command center, Elena and her team worked feverishly to bring the GWVA online. Sweat beaded on her forehead as she initiated the startup sequence. Come on, she muttered, willing the system to work. Suddenly, the main screen flickered to life. A collective gasp filled the room. There, rendered in ghostly blue outlines against the black of space, was the alien fleet. Hundreds of ships, ranging from small fighters to massive dreadnoughts, hung in perfect formation just beyond the moon's orbit. General Hawthorne's voice cut through the stunned silence. My God, it's really happening. As if responding to humanity's newfound ability to see them, the alien fleet began to move. The smaller ships spread out in attack formation, while the larger vessels held position, their massive forms promising untold destructive capability. On Earth, air raid sirens began to wail. The moment humanity had simultaneously feared and prepared for it arrived. As the first wave of alien fighters descended towards the atmosphere, the human defense fleet moved to intercept. The battle for Earth was about to begin, and against all odds, humanity was ready to fight back. They had achieved the impossible by making the invisible visible. Now they would need to dig deep into their reservoir of courage, ingenuity, and determination to face the greatest challenge in their history. As the alien ships drew closer, a single thought echoed through the minds of every human. We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. The silent invasion had been unveiled, and humanity stood united, ready to write the next chapter in their story. A chapter that would echo through the cosmos and prove that even in the face of advanced alien technology, the human spirit was a force to be reckoned with. Humanity's ingenuity unveiled. As the alien fleet loomed ever closer, the people of Earth rallied with a spirit of innovation and determination that would come to define this crucial moment in human history. The Global Defense Initiative, GDI, hastily formed from the world's leading scientific and military minds, worked around the clock to develop countermeasures against the impending invasion. At the heart of this effort was Dr. Elena Rodriguez, whose breakthrough with the Gravity Wave Visualization Array, GWVA, had given humanity its first glimpse of the enemy. Now she found herself leading a diverse team of scientists, each bringing their unique expertise to the table. We can see them, Elena addressed her team, her voice filled with urgency. But seeing isn't enough. We need to find a way to fight back. Raj Patel, the young engineer whose idea had led to the GWVA, raised his hand. What if we could use their own technology against them? If we can detect their gravitational footprint, maybe we can disrupt it too. This spark of an idea set off a flurry of activity. In labs across the globe, scientists began experimenting with gravity manipulation technology. The goal was ambitious: to create a device that could generate localized gravitational fields strong enough to interfere with the alien ship's cloaking mechanisms and propulsion systems. Meanwhile, in a repurposed automotive factory in Detroit, a team led by Dr. Kwame Osai worked on another critical project. Kwame, a brilliant materials scientist, had proposed a radical idea: adaptive armor. Traditional armor won't cut it against weapons we can't even imagine. Kwame explained to a group of skeptical military officials. We need something that can learn and adapt in real time. His team had developed a revolutionary nanomaterial that could analyze incoming energy signatures and reconfigure its molecular structure to provide maximum protection. As Kwame demonstrated a prototype deflecting a high-energy laser, the officials' skepticism turned to cautious optimism. In orbit, aboard the hastily upgraded International Space Station, Commander Yuki Tanaka oversaw the deployment of a new satellite network. These satellites, equipped with miniaturized versions of the GWVA, would provide real-time tracking of the alien fleet's movements. Feed coming online now, Yuki reported to ground control. As the data streamed in, tacticians on Earth began to form a clearer picture of the aliens' formation and potential strategies. But it wasn't just the scientific and military communities that were rising to the challenge. In a surprising turn of events, the world's hackers and computer scientists had united in a global hackathon. Their goal: to crack the alien communication systems. Lai Wei, a reformed black hat hacker from Shenzhen, led this digital insurgency. Their tech might be advanced, Lai said with a grin, but code is code. If it can be written, it can be hacked. As the hours ticked by, humanity's preparation grew more intense. In fields and deserts around the world, hastily constructed particle accelerators hummed to life, their purpose far from scientific curiosity. These machines were charging up experimental weapons designed to pierce even the most advanced energy shields. Dr. Sofia Antonova, a stern-faced Russian physicist, watched as her team made final adjustments to what they called the pulse cannon. If this works, she mused, it will show those aliens that humanity is not to be underestimated. But perhaps the most audacious plan came from an unexpected source. Elon Musk, the eccentric billionaire inventor, had repurposed his entire Starship fleet for a daring mission. Each spacecraft was being fitted with a massive electromagnetic pulse, EMP generator. The plan is simple, Musk explained in a global broadcast, his eyes gleaming with excitement. We'll launch these ships on a collision course with the alien fleet. When they detonate, the EMP blast should fry every piece of electronic equipment in range. It's a high-risk, high-reward gambit. As innovative as these technological solutions were, the GDI recognized that they also needed to prepare for ground combat. Enter Major Layla Hassan, a decorated Special Forces operator tasked with training an elite unit for potential alien encounters. We don't know what these beings look like, how they think, or how they fight. Layla barked at her diverse team of soldiers. But we know who we are. We are humanity's best, and we will adapt, overcome, and win. Her training regimen was brutal and unconventional. Soldiers learned to fight in zero gravity, to operate in environments with toxic atmospheres, and to use weapon systems that were more science fiction than reality just days ago. As the alien fleet entered the solar system, passing the orbit of Mars, a tense calm settled over the Earth. In every city, town, and village, people prepared for the unknown. Bunkers were stocked, evacuation routes rehearsed, and emergency broadcasts tested. Yet, amidst the fear and uncertainty, there was also a palpable sense of unity and resolve. Humanity had come together in a way never before seen in its turbulent history. Old enemies now stood side by side, united against a common threat. In a poignant moment that would be remembered for generations, a joint choir of children from every nation on Earth sang a song of hope and defiance. The melody, broadcast to the approaching alien fleet as a testament to human spirit and creativity, brought tears to the eyes of even the most hardened military personnel. As the final hours before potential first contact ticked away, President Amelia Chen addressed the world once more. Her words, translated into every language, reached every corner of the globe. People of Earth, we stand on the brink of a new era. The challenges ahead are great, but so is our resolve. In our darkest hour, we have shown the true strength of humanity, not our weapons or our technology, but our unity, our adaptability, and our indomitable spirit. Whatever happens next, know this: we face it together as one human family, and together we will prevail. As she finished speaking, a cheer erupted from crowds gathered in public spaces worldwide. It was a roar of defiance, of hope, of humanity's unwavering will to survive and thrive. In orbit, the crew of the International Space Station watched in awe as the alien fleet began to decelerate, their massive ships coming into formation just beyond the moon's orbit. Commander Yuki Tanaka took a deep breath, her hand hovering over the communication panel that would signal the beginning of humanity's response. On Earth, in the GSOC Command Center, Dr. Elena Rodriguez and her team made final calibrations to their array of gravity disruptors. General Sarah Hawthorne stood stoically, surveying the busy room, ready to coordinate humanity's defense. Around the world, fighters scrambled, weapons systems came online, and every eye turned skyward. The moment of truth had arrived. Humanity had unveiled its ingenuity, its adaptability, and its unity. Now, it was time to put it all to the test. As the alien ships began their final approach, a single thought echoed through the minds of billions. We are ready. We will fight. We will survive. The stage was set for the greatest battle in human history. Humanity's ingenuity had been unveiled, and now it would be tested against a foe from beyond the stars. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, but if there was one thing the preparations had proven, it was that humanity should never be underestimated. The first clash. The tension in Earth's atmosphere was palpable as the alien fleet entered lunar orbit. Humanity's hastily assembled defenses stood ready, a testament to the species' remarkable ability to unite and innovate in the face of existential threat. As the massive alien ships loomed ever closer, blocking out entire star fields, the order finally came. All units, this is General Hawthorne. Initiate Operation Lighthouse. May God be with us all. With those words, humanity's trap was sprung. Thousands of satellites, hastily launched in the preceding days, activated in unison. Each one emitted a powerful gravitational pulse, creating a complex web of localized gravity wells throughout near-Earth space. The effect on the alien fleet was immediate and dramatic. Ships that had been invisible moments before suddenly shimmered into view, their advanced cloaking technology overwhelmed by the gravitational distortions. The once orderly formation began to break apart as smaller craft tumbled out of control, caught in the artificial gravity fields. In the GSOC Command Center, Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched with a mixture of awe and trepidation. It's working, she breathed, but they're adapting quickly. We need to press our advantage now. General Hawthorne nodded grimly. All fighter squadrons, you are clear to engage. Pulse cannon stations, prepare to fire on my mark. Around the world, hangar doors slid open, revealing squadrons of next-generation fighter jets. These weren't the conventional aircraft of old, but hybrid machines capable of both atmospheric and spaceflight, their hulls gleaming with adaptive nano-armor. As the fighters streaked into the sky, the first alien vessels breached Earth's atmosphere. These were smaller craft, likely scout ships or the vanguard of an invasion force. They moved with incredible speed and agility, but thanks to the gravity web, they were now visible and vulnerable. The battle was joined in earnest. Human fighters clashed with alien craft in a furious melee that lit up the skies. Beams of energy crisscrossed with missile contrails, creating a deadly light show visible from the ground. Captain Zara Malik, leader of the first multinational space wing, banked her fighter hard to avoid an alien energy blast. "These bastards are tough," she growled over the comm, "but they bleed like anything else." Her squadron cheered as she lined up a shot, her craft's eye-assisted targeting system blocking onto a weak point in the alien ship's hull. A burst of hyper-accelerated particles erupted from her fighter's main gun, tearing through the alien vessel and sending it spiraling towards the Pacific Ocean. On the ground, the pulse cannons finally came online. Dr. Sofia Antonova gave the order, her voice steady despite the stakes. Fire. Massive particle accelerators, the product of a global scientific effort, roared to life. Beams of exotic particles, accelerated to near-light speeds, lanced into space. The effect on the alien ships was catastrophic. Shields that had shrugged off conventional weapons collapsed under the onslaught, and several of the larger vessels began to break apart. But the aliens were far from defeated. As if enraged by the unexpected resistance, they launched a counterattack. Massive energy weapons on their capital ships powered up, targeting Earth's major cities. In orbit, Commander Yuki Tanaka watched in horror as the weapons prepared to fire. "Ground control, we have multiple energy buildups. They're targeting population centers." Just as all seemed lost, Elon Musk's audacious plan came to fruition. A swarm of starships, each loaded with an enormous EMP device, launched from hidden silos around the globe. They accelerated on a collision course with the alien fleet, their crews having volunteered for what was almost certainly a suicide mission for Earth. The cry echoed across all frequencies as the starships detonated in the midst of the alien armada. The resulting electromagnetic pulse was beyond anything humanity had ever generated. It washed over the alien fleet like a tidal wave, shorting out systems and leaving many of the largest ships dead in space. The alien energy weapons faltered, their beams dissipating harmlessly in the upper atmosphere. A cheer went up from defenders around the world, but the battle was far from over. Taking advantage of the aliens' momentary disarray, Major Layla Hassan and her team of elite soldiers launched their own daring mission. Using experimental teleportation technology, they beamed aboard one of the disabled alien capital ships. Breaching in 3, 2, 1. Layla's voice was calm as she and her team materialized in an alien corridor. They moved with precision, their training kicking in despite the utterly alien environment. "Remember, people, we're here to gather intel, and if possible, capture their command center. Watch each other's backs and stay frosty." As Layla's team fought their way through the alien vessel, the battle continued to rage outside. The remaining active alien ships regrouped, adopting new tactics. They began to use Earth's own gravity web against the human fighters, predicting the distortions and using them to set up ambushes. In the digital realm, the battle was just as fierce. Lai Wei and his team of hackers had finally cracked the alien communication encryption. "We're in," Lai shouted, his fingers flying over his keyboard. "Uploading the virus now." The virus, a masterpiece of human ingenuity, began to wreak havoc on the alien fleet's coordinated defense systems. Ships began to fire on each other, their targeting systems compromised. Back on the alien capital ship, Layla and her team had fought their way to what appeared to be the bridge. "Planting the beacon now," she reported, attaching a small device to what looked like a central console. "Dr. Rodriguez, you're up." In the GSOC, Elena activated the quantum entanglement device they'd been saving for this moment. Instantly, a vast amount of data began streaming from the alien ship to Earth's servers. "We've hit the jackpot," Elena breathed, her eyes wide as she scanned the incoming information. This is their entire database. Star charts, weapons schematics, biological data. Everything. As the tide of battle began to turn in humanity's favor, the alien fleet suddenly ceased fire. A message, broadcast on all frequencies in perfect English, echoed across the battlefield. "Humans of Earth, we miscalculated. We offer our surrender." For a moment, there was stunned silence. Then, gradually, a realization dawned. Humanity had not just survived its first interstellar war, it had won. The cheers that erupted from every corner of the globe were deafening. In the streets, in bunkers, in command centers and cockpits, humans embraced, cried, and celebrated. They had faced an advanced alien threat and emerged victorious. But even as the celebration began, questions arose. Who were these aliens? Why had they attacked? And now that humanity had proven itself on the galactic stage, what would come next? As the remaining alien ships powered down their weapons and entered stable orbits under heavy human supervision, one thing was clear. The universe had underestimated humanity. And humanity, united as never before, stood ready to claim its place among the stars. The first clash was over, but humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. Alien perspective. In the aftermath of the battle, as the remnants of the once mighty alien fleet hung defeated in Earth's orbit, a very different scene was unfolding aboard the Nexus, the massive command ship of the Jeteran Empire. Supreme Commander Corax, his iridescent scales dulled with stress and fatigue, stared out at the blue-green planet that had so thoroughly defied their expectations. His four eyes, usually sharp and calculating, now held a mix of disbelief and grudging respect. "Impossible," he muttered, his translator converting the complex series of clicks and whistles into the major Earth languages. Simply impossible. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vexera, approached cautiously. In their millennia of conquest, she had never seen the Supreme Commander so shaken. "Supreme Commander," she began, her own translator active, "the humans request our presence for negotiations." The last word came out with a note of disbelief. Never in the history of the Jeteran Empire had they negotiated with a species they had intended to conquer. Corax turned slowly, his upper eyes focusing on Vexara, while his lower pair continued to observe the planet below. "Negotiations," he repeated, the word foreign and uncomfortable. "Yes, I suppose we must. Prepare a delegation. I want our best xenobiologists and cultural analysts present. We clearly underestimated these humans." As the delegation prepared, Corax retreated to his private chambers to review the battle footage. Each viewing only deepened his astonishment. "Computer," he commanded, "replay the sequence when the humans first revealed their gravity manipulation technology." The holographic display came to life, showing the Jeteran fleet suddenly becoming visible, their ships caught in a web of gravitational distortions. "Pause," Corax ordered. How? How did a species that hasn't even colonized its own solar system develop technology that rivals our most advanced cloaking systems? He shook his head in wonder. The humans' ability to innovate and adapt had been nothing short of miraculous. In the span of mere days, they had developed countermeasures to technologies that had taken the Jeteran centuries to perfect. Corax's mind wandered to the briefing they had received before the invasion. Earth had seemed like such an easy target. A single fractious world, its dominant species still burning fossil fuels and squabbling over territorial boundaries. The invasion was supposed to be a simple operation, a footnote in the grand expansion of the Jeteran Empire. How wrong they had been. In the medical bay, Chief Xenobiologist Zilnan was having a similar crisis of understanding. She hovered over the body of a human fighter pilot, one of the few they had managed to capture during the battle. "Fascinating," she murmured, her sensors scanning the unconscious human. "Their cellular structure, their neural pathways. It's all so inefficient, and yet..." She trailed off, her mind racing with the implications. One of her junior researchers spoke up. "Chief, we've completed the analysis of their weapons. You need to see this." Zilnan glided over to the weapons lab, her eyes widening as she took in the data. "But they've weaponized particle accelerators, and this adaptive armor. It's unlike anything in our database." Back on the bridge, Sub-Commander Vexera was coordinating with the human leaders for the upcoming negotiations. As she listened to the calm, professional tones of the Earth representatives, she couldn't help but feel a grudging admiration. They're not gloating, she realized with surprise. They've defeated a technologically superior force, and yet they're treating us with respect. As the time for negotiations approached, Supreme Commander Corax gathered his delegation. The mood was somber, a far cry from the confident bravado that had preceded their invasion. Before we depart, Corax addressed his team. I want to make one thing clear. We are no longer dealing with a primitive species to be conquered. We are facing a young, vibrant civilization that has proven itself our equal, if not our superior, in ways we are only beginning to understand. He paused, letting his words sink in. Our mission now is not conquest, but understanding. We must learn all we can about these humans. Their adaptability, their ingenuity, their inexplicable ability to unite in the face of overwhelming odds. These are traits that could reshape the very foundation of our empire. As the J-Terran delegation prepared to teleport down to the United Nations headquarters in New York, where the negotiations would take place, a junior cultural analyst named Etherin approached Corax. Supreme Commander, Etherin began hesitantly, I've been studying human transmissions since the battle, trying to understand their response to our invasion. I found something peculiar. Corax turned his upper eyes to the analyst, intrigued. Go on. Well, sir, Etherin continued, it seems that many humans are excited by our presence. There are millions of transmissions speculating about peaceful cooperation, cultural exchange, even interspecies relationships. The analyst's scales flushed a deep blue with embarrassment. Corax blinked all four eyes in rapid succession, a sign of deep surprise in J-Terran body language. You mean to tell me, he said slowly, that we invaded their world, threatened their very existence, and now they want to befriend us? Etherin nodded, equally baffled. It appears to be a common theme in their fiction, sir. They call it humanity, yeah. It's a genre celebrating human exceptionalism and their ability to befriend or defeat superior alien races. For the first time since the invasion began, Supreme Commander Corax felt a burst of laughter bubble up from his thorax. The sound, somewhere between a hiss and a chirp, startled his entire delegation. Oh, Vector Prime. Corax chuckled, using the J-Terran equivalent of oh my god. We really did choose the wrong planet to invade, didn't we? As the delegation shimmered out of existence, teleporting down to Earth to begin negotiations, Corax felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries, genuine excitement for the future. The humans had not only survived the J-Terran invasion, they had thrived, innovated, and emerged victorious. Now, as the delegation materialized in the Grand Hall of the United Nations, facing the assembled leaders of Earth, Corax realized that this defeat might just be the beginning of the greatest adventure in J-Terran history. The Supreme Commander stepped forward, all four eyes taking in the diverse assembly of humans before him. With a deep breath, he prepared to address the species that had done the impossible, the species that had not only defeated the J-Terran Empire, but had also, inadvertently, opened its eyes to new possibilities. People of Earth, Corax began, his translator conveying the genuine awe in his voice. On behalf of the J-Terran Empire, I come before you not as a conqueror, but as a humbled leader ready to learn. You have shown us that the true strength of a species lies not in its technology or its military might, but in its spirit, its adaptability, and its unwavering determination. As Corax continued his speech, the first step towards an unprecedented alliance was taken. The universe, it seemed, was about to witness the rise of a new power, one born from the union of J-Terran experience and human ingenuity. The age of humanity had truly begun, and the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter in anticipation of what was to come. Turning the tide. The weeks following the failed J-Terran invasion marked a turning point in human history. The world, still reeling from the narrowly averted catastrophe, found itself thrust into a new era of rapid technological advancement and interstellar politics. In New York, The United Nations building had been transformed into a hub of frenetic activity. Diplomats, scientists, and military personnel from every nation worked alongside their J-Terran counterparts, hammering out the details of what would come to be known as the Terra-J-Terran Accord. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, now hailed as one of the heroes of the invasion, stood before a joint committee of human and J-Terran representatives. "The gravity manipulation technology we developed," she explained, gesturing to a holographic display, "was just the beginning. With the data we've gathered from the J-Terran ships, we're on the brink of unlocking faster-than-light travel." Supreme Commander Kordax, who had chosen to remain on Earth as the J-Terran ambassador, clicked his mandibles in approval. "Impressive," he said, his translator conveying genuine admiration. "You've adapted our technology in ways we never considered. I believe this collaboration will benefit both our species greatly." As the committee discussed the implications of this breakthrough, news trickled in from around the globe. The sharing of J-Terran medical technology had led to cures for several previously incurable diseases. Climate change, once thought unstoppable, was being reversed thanks to the application of alien atmospheric manipulation techniques. But perhaps the most profound changes were happening in the public sphere. The knowledge that humanity was not alone in the universe, and that it could stand toe-to-toe with advanced alien civilizations, had sparked a cultural renaissance. In a small cafe in Paris, a human artist named Sophie and a J-Terran sculptor called Zexty were engrossed in conversation. "Your species' concept of abstract art is fascinating," Zexty chirped, his 4 eyes focused on Sophie's latest painting. "The way you capture emotion through color and form, it's unlike anything in J-Terran art." Sophie smiled, taking a sip of her coffee. "And I'm in awe of your gravitational sculptures," she replied. "The idea of using localized gravity fields to create 3-dimensional, moving artworks. It's revolutionary." Similar scenes were playing out across the globe as humans and J-Terrans engaged in cultural exchange, each species finding new inspiration in the other's perspective. However, not all was smooth sailing. In a secured boardroom in Geneva, General Sarah Hawthorne faced off against a coalition of world leaders. "We can't let our guard down," she insisted, her voice firm. "Yes, the J-Terrans are cooperating now, but what about other alien species? We need to maintain and expand our defensive capabilities." President Amelia Chen nodded thoughtfully. "You're right, General, but we must balance caution with optimism. This is our chance to step onto the galactic stage not just as warriors, but as diplomats and innovators." The debate raged on, but ultimately, a compromise was reached. Earth would continue to develop its defenses, incorporating J-Terran technology, while also establishing a new organization, the Terran Diplomatic Corps, tasked with representing humanity's interests across the stars. As these discussions took place, the first joint human J-Terran space mission was already underway. The ISS Horizon, Earth's most advanced spacecraft, cruised alongside the J-Terran vessel Stellar Embrace. Their destination, Mars. Captain Yuki Tanaka, at the helm of the Horizon, couldn't help but smile as she looked out at the red planet growing larger in the viewscreen. "To think," she mused, "just a month ago, we were fighting for our very survival. Now we're about to establish the first human colony on Mars, with alien help no less." Her J-Terran counterpart, Captain Zilvin, chittered in agreement. "The universe is vast and often dangerous, Yuki. But together, I believe our species can accomplish great things." As the joint mission began its descent to the Martian surface, back on Earth, Elon Musk was holding a press conference that would change the course of human history yet again. "Ladies and gentlemen," Musk announced, his eyes gleaming with excitement, "thanks to the collaboration between SpaceX and J-Terran scientists, I'm thrilled to announce that we've successfully tested our first faster-than-light prototype. The stars are no longer out of reach." The crowd erupted in cheers, and across the globe, humans looked to the sky with new eyes. The vast, star-studded expanse was no longer just a view to admire. It was a frontier to explore. In orbit, aboard one of the remaining J-Terran ships, Supreme Commander Korak stood with Dr. Elena Rodriguez, both gazing down at the blue marble of Earth. "You know," Korak said thoughtfully, "in all our centuries of conquest, we never encountered a species quite like yours. Your adaptability, your creativity, your sheer determination. It's humbling." Elena nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "We've always been dreamers," she replied. "For centuries, we've looked to the stars and imagined what might be out there. Now, thanks to you, albeit in an unexpected way, we get to find out." Korax turned all four eyes to Elena. "You do realize," he said, "that by defeating us, you've announced your presence to the galaxy at large. There are other species out there, some friendly, some not so much." "I know," Elena said, her voice firm. "But we're ready. Whatever the universe throws at us next, humanity will face it head-on. And this time, we'll have friends by our side." As if on cue, a communication came through from the Mars mission. The joint human-J-Terran team had successfully landed, marking the first step in humanity's journey to the stars. Korax and Elena watched as the first images from Mars streamed in, showing human and J-Terran explorers working side by side, the red Martian landscape stretching out behind them. "You know," Korax mused, "there's an old J-Terran saying, 'The greatest journeys begin with an unexpected step.'" Elena laughed. "We have a similar saying on Earth, 'One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.'" As they stood there, an unlikely pair born from conflict, but united in purpose, the future stretched out before them. A future filled with challenges, certainly, but also with unparalleled opportunities for growth, discovery, and cooperation. The tide had turned. Humanity had not only survived its trial by fire, but had emerged stronger, wiser, and ready to take its place among the stars. The age of Earth's isolation was over. The age of human expansion, of interstellar alliances, and unfathomable discoveries had just begun. And as the sun set on this pivotal day in human history, people around the world raised their eyes to the heavens, no longer seeing just points of light, but future destinations, new homes, and endless possibilities. Humanity had been tested, and humanity had triumphed. The message was clear to all species across the galaxy. Humanity, *****, yeah. The end.